Well, today is Veterans Day, and it's a day meant to honor those who served our country and those who are still currently serving. This week, we're highlighting some who came back after serving our country in Vietnam.
In fact, many of them coming back to the opposite of a hero's welcome.
When I got home, people, they spit at you. So, call your names, you're a baby killer. That's what I got when I got home. So, this helps.
It's so sobering seeing that account from him. We're bringing in Lauren Robinson now, joining us. She is happy veterans to you, an Army sergeant.
I know.
That we are very proud of. But you joined these local veterans on the honor flight this year. You flew to D.C. What was that experience like?
That's right. The experience was a lot of what you just saw. It was people finally letting emotions out that had been bottled for 50 years or so because, you know, the Vietnam War was not a very popular war. And this happened to be the first honor flight with all Vietnam era veterans. So they were all talking about, you know, what they came home to, the sad experiences. And then the other flip side of it is it was also a war where people were drafted. So these weren't soldiers and these weren't other military service members who even chose to be in war. They were drafted to go into war. They, you know, saw other people not come home. They saw things that they didn't want to see themselves and then came home to such a terrible welcome. And so a lot of these veterans that I tagged along with, you know, they finally let emotions out that they had been harboring inside for so long, for so many decades. Because another thing, you know, mental health wasn't really a thing back then. Nobody was talking about feelings or going to therapy or, you know, releasing emotions or even acknowledging emotions. So there was so much unpacking to do with these veterans on that trip.
You're right. Just you speaking about it, I think of my dad who served 2 tours in combat as a Marine in Vietnam. And, you know, he talked about the unwelcome home. And, you know, you not only see that from his perspective, but a lot of his friends, some who may have been of color, come back to Jim Crow. So not only this unwelcoming because you were serving your country, and even if you weren't drafted, you know, you were duped in a way, right? And I hate saying that word because respectfully, I just want anybody who served for our country to feel proud, whether they volunteered or not. And yeah, and the PTSD, you know, that wasn't even a term back then.
Right.
So how are they supposed to deal with any of those emotions or, to your point, what they saw? So there's a lot to unpack. I can't wait to see your story today.
Yeah, so there's a story today at 4. I'm doing 3 stories actually where we got to spend a little extra time with a few of the veterans and talk about their individual unique stories, their experiences, what they saw, what they experienced, things like that. And, you know, we're going to be running them throughout the week here, but they're all so special in their own way. Some a little happier, some a little sad, but, you know, that just serves to like the wide array, the broad aspect of what it is to be in the military.
Wow. I'm curious from a personal perspective, how did they respond to you? Because we've sent reporters to do these types of stories all the time, but what a special thing to be able to send a veteran to interview other veterans. Were they just more willing to talk to you and connect with you?
Yeah, you know, that's actually a really good question because when I went with 9 News, and my capacity in 9 News is a meteorologist. So I went thinking, you know, I'm meteorologist Lauren Robinson. Every veteran along the entire trip only called me sergeant.
Oh,
it was they could have cared less. They could have cared less that I was a meteorologist or that I worked for 9 News. What they were really impressed in was the fact that I'm in the U.S. Army Reserves, and that is what they addressed me by, and that's why I think even a couple of them felt a little closer or a little more willing to open up because it was kind of like talking to someone inside your own bubble.
Yes. Their peer.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing.
I know.
We look forward to seeing all these stories throughout the week. Thank you for your hard work and thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Lauren's
Amen.
full stories coming up. Today, you'll catch the first one at 4.